Coordinator for your presentation. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as per established practice, I will now give the floor to the distinguished ambassador of Syrian Arab Republic as a concerned country. Excellency, you have the floor.
Thank you, sir. The Commission of Inquiry continues to stray in the labyrinth of exaggeration and misguidance, and its reliance on undocumented or verified statements by those who are looked for under criminal cases and relying on media reports that are being disseminated by sources inimical to Syria, a matter that has made the reports of the committee a support to those who are extremists and the takfiris. We have advised the committee as of the beginning to act on the basis of truth and objectivity, and we have submitted to it and to the Office of the High Commissioner more than 250 communications and documents that refute the claims by those who participate in the bloodshed. But the Committee of Inquiry has ignored all of this and continued politicizing and exaggeration. And some of the aspects of the weakness of the report of the committee is what we see in paragraph 14 on the existence of external supporters of the armed groups that give those political and financial cover and supply them with military equipment. Also, the Commission in paragraph 33 did recognize that those supporters are pushing the combatants into extremism, and here we ask the question, why did the committee not find in itself the necessary courage or candor to point out to those supporters, in particular the United States of America and its instruments, Qatar, Turkey and Saudi Arabia? The Commission has also continued to ignore the negative effect of the unjust economic sanctions imposed on the people of Syria, and that have caused many economic and social crises and caused the migration of Syrians to neighboring countries. It is deplorable for the Commission of Inquiry to claim in its conclusions that the government is responsible for what it called a number of massacres, and yet at the same time to say that the evidence and the circumstances around those massacres were not enough to determine the responsibility of the perpetrators. And this is something that we consider shameful and unprofessional, that we have not seen before in the ethics of international organizations or legal-based organizations. As for the destruction of Syria of its own health infrastructure, this is cheap misguidance, because there is no country that would destroy its own infrastructure. Syria respects its commitments under international humanitarian law and the relevant Geneva Conventions, and Syria does not need a certificate of good conduct from the Commission of Inquiry. Also, the Commission of Inquiry ignored in its recommendations the principle of the right of states to protect their peoples, which is one of the fundamental principles of international law. And perhaps the committee has not seen or has not heard of the horrors and the massacres perpetrated by the operatives of Al-Qaeda and the Takfiris in the areas that they attack, and the slaughters and the public executions that are held in front of children, women, and the family members of the victims. Also, the Commission of Inquiry has ignored the hysterical movements that are resorted to by the instigators of killing in my country whenever in the horizon we see the possibility of a political solution amongst the Syrians. And this unethical role of those countries will lead to a great set-down to resort to the principles of international law and the Charter of the United Nations. A small positive step, however, that we have seen from the Commission of Inquiry, and we have seen rather late, was in paragraph 20, where the Commission of Inquiry indicates the conformity of the position of Saudi Arabia with the position of Al-Qaeda, when the Commission pointed out the invitations that we have heard from Saudi Arabia and Ayman al-Zawahiri, the leader of Al-Qaeda, and that are exhorting Muslims to engage in jihad in Syria and to provide the armed groups with funds and weapons. It is our hope that the Commission of Inquiry in future will find in itself the candor and the courage, and will also indicate that Turkey and Qatar are implicated in the bloodshed of the Syrian people and the destruction of Syria. Mr. President, as for the report by the Special Rapporteur on IDPs, and while we thank the Rapporteur, we would like to indicate that we have cooperated with him fully, and we have extended to him over a year ago an invitation to visit Syria. However, until now, he has not undertaken this visit for reasons that we do not know, and therefore he could not directly and first-hand find out what the situation was, and he has not obtained credible and documented information, and therefore we would like him to tell us frankly why he has not undertaken the visit so far. We're also sorry that he has relied on information that he had obtained from the Commission of Inquiry's report, and unfortunately these are selective and politicized and lack credibility. We also regret that he ignored that the two principal reasons for internal displacement in Syria are the terrorist operations that are being engaged in by the Takfiri groups, and that they are causing the forcible displacement of people on confessional and racial basis, and that there are then the other reason is the sanctions that have affected the life of the Syrian people, its livelihood, its health, and its education and other rights. I thank you.
I thank you, Excellency.